So the next thing that we'll do, instead of creating another action to update all of the records, we're actually going to create a path. And the way Zapier puts it is build different steps for different rules. You can essentially think of paths like a if statement. If your record met a certain criteria, then do A, B, C. If it did not meet a certain criteria, or if it met a different criteria, then you can do X, Y, Z. When you select a path, you want to click on the path button when you are configuring the action. One thing I need to mention about paths is that there cannot be any additional actions beneath a path. Because the path splits into two, you're going to build actions within each path on the two options, but they don't converge at the end. So you want to do your search step, you want to do your original record manipulation all up in the beginning. So before you get to paths, and then paths is kind of the final step where your automation is going to split. While we're on the topic of paths, I think one of the automation tools we're not talking about in this part of the course, it's called Integromat. If you need multiple different paths, so let's say you need 3 different paths or 4 different paths, Integromat is a better way to go, whereas Airtable has a couple of paths, and right now we can only build up to 2 paths. So inside of a path, you can create a rule, and our rule is going to be, this is a existing customer. So if the contact already exists, then the Zap found data, it's going to say true. So that will be in step 2. What we're saying here is that we did indeed find a contact within our Airtable. So our most recent test, we did see that record already exist, so this is going to be true. And the 5th part of this Zap is going to be updating a record. The app you're going to select is once again Airtable. This time we're going to update the record. And when you update a record, Zapier is going to ask you which record you want to update. This is always going to be based on the record ID inside of Airtable. When you click on the record to select a record ID, there are a couple of different options. The first one that it defaults to is this record on the left-hand side. You don't want to use this part because it's always going to edit the same record no matter the occasion. So you don't want that. What we really want is to update the record dynamically based on the customer that had just submitted the form. Maybe they exist inside of the Airtable, maybe they don't, but it's always going to be that dynamic record that you had either found or created in step 2. So in this case, we're going to click on Custom. Inside of Custom, you need to click on Step 2. And the Airtable record ID is always going to be the same as the ID of the actual record. Airtable. So inside of our contacts table, I created a new field called record ID. This is simply a formula field with the record ID formula. And you can see that this record, our test record, ends in W7U. And so does our Zapier in step 2. And that step 2 record ID is what we'll grab. And it looks like I got it twice, so I'm going to delete one of them. So if this is a customer that already exists, what we probably want to do is update the record and say this customer submitted multiple inquiries. Back in my Airtable, I'm going to add a notes field. In my Zapier, I'm going to fill in a special note in that note field. So I'm adding a simple note to say this customer already existed when they created their request. Next, I'll click Continue. You can go ahead and test and review. Thanks for investing in your own knowledge base. I'm Cherry Yang, the founder of Claribase. We're going to be releasing our flagship course, Airtable Mastery, for free. In the course, you can find over 100 videos on topics like design, integration, automations, and interfaces. It's perfect for the Airtable champion who wants to build their database right the first time. You can sign up for the course at the link down below.